Sure. Here's a 500-word story that centers on the topic. Only 5% of seniors can do these five things after 70. Improve longevity and health today in a narrative format. The 5% Club, a story of longevity and strength. When Margaret turned 70, she received a cake, a few phone calls, and a quiet sense of dread. She'd watched her friends grow slower, quieter, and in some cases, simply give up. But she wasn't ready to settle into that version of aging. One afternoon, her doctor handed her an article with the headline, "Only 5% of seniors can do these five things after 70. Improve longevity and health today." It wasn't a warning. It was a challenge. The list was simple but daunting. 1. Walk a mile without stopping. 2. Balance on one leg for 10 seconds. 3. Get up from the floor without using hands. 4. Lift 10 pounds with ease. 5. Maintain sharp memory and focus. Only 5% of seniors could do all five. But Margaret wanted in. Each morning, she walked around her neighborhood. At first, she barely made it to the corner without needing a rest. But she pushed a little farther each week until one day she looped the entire park, a full mile, and returned home smiling. Balance came next. Her yoga mat became her battleground. She wobbled, tipped, laughed, and tried again. She learned to tune into her breath and her muscles. By spring, she could stand on one leg for 15 seconds, steady as a flamingo. The floor challenge nearly broke her spirit. After all, getting up from the ground seemed like a young person's game. But her grandson, Jake, turned it into fun. "Pretend the floor is lava," he shouted as they played. Bit by bit, with squats, lunges, and practice, Margaret finally nailed it. No hands. Strength training was new territory. She started with soup cans and moved up to 10-pound dumbbells. Every repetition whispered the same message: "You're stronger than you think." And memory? That was the hardest. So she took up journaling, puzzles, and even learned basic Spanish with a friend. Her mind felt alive again, not just surviving, but thriving. On her 71st birthday, Margaret stood in front of her friends and family at the park. She balanced on one leg, held up a 10-pound weight in one hand, and laughed as she recalled a joke in Spanish. Then she jogged a small lap just to show off. She was part of the 5% now, not because she was lucky, but because she chose effort over ease. The truth was simple. These five things weren't just physical tasks. They were symbols of strength, of independence, of saying yes to life after 70. Margaret became a local legend. Other seniors joined her for morning walks, yoga in the park, and brain games at the library. She turned her challenge into a movement, because health isn't about age, it's about attitude. And if only 5% of seniors can do these five things, maybe it's time we help that number grow. Would you like this adapted into a 2-sentence script for an AI voiceover? Absolutely. Here's an additional 500-word paragraph that continues the story of Margaret and deepens the message. Margaret's transformation didn't just inspire her. It sparked a ripple effect in her community. The small-town senior center, once half-empty and quiet, began to buzz with energy. It started when a retired teacher named Harold showed up one morning to walk with Margaret. He hadn't exercised in years, and his knees protested every step. "If you can do it, maybe I can too," he said with a grin. Soon, others followed. Betty, who had given up dancing after her hip surgery, brought a speaker and started leading gentle Zumba classes in the community hall. Carl, a former accountant battling early memory loss, organized weekly trivia nights. What began as a personal goal for one woman became a growing movement of older adults taking back control of their health and joy. They called themselves the 5% Club, a little tongue-in-cheek at first, but as more people joined and improved, the name became a badge of honor. Margaret knew it wasn't magic. The real difference came from consistency, support, and mindset. She often reminded people, it's not about perfection. It's about showing up for yourself every single day. Local healthcare providers took notice, offering wellness classes tailored to seniors and inviting Margaret to speak about her journey. Schools partnered with the Senior Center for intergenerational activities, yoga with kindergartners, chess games between teens and retirees, cooking classes where wisdom and energy flowed both ways. These connections enriched everyone. The town, once resigned to the quiet fate of aging, now pulsed with shared vitality. But Margaret also understood that not every day would feel strong. She still had stiff mornings, days when motivation felt far away or when the mirror reflected more wrinkles than wins. But those were the moments when her commitment mattered most. She kept a journal, noting her progress and setbacks alike. Hard day today, one entry read. Walked anyway. Didn't want to, but did it. That's a win. That attitude helped others see that the path to health wasn't linear. It was layered, emotional, and absolutely worth it. 5 simple actions had rewritten the story of her golden years. Walking a mile gave her freedom. Balancing on one leg reminded her she was steady. Rising from the floor proved she was capable. Lifting weights showed her strength. And keeping her mind sharp connected her to the world. Each skill brought a new layer of independence and dignity, qualities often assumed to fade with age. By the time Margaret turned 73, the mayor declared the first Saturday of each month 5% Day, where seniors gathered to test their progress, cheer each other on, and set goals. What started as a scary article became a hopeful anthem. The truth wasn't that only 5% could do it. It was that many more could if given the tools, encouragement, and belief. Margaret stood by her window one evening, watching a group of gray-haired walkers go by. She smiled. Age, she realized, is not what limits us. It's what frees us to finally live with purpose. Let me know if you want this turned into a short 2-sentence AI voiceover promo. Of course. Here's an additional 200-word paragraph to continue the story and bring it to a satisfying close. As the seasons changed, so did the lives of those around Margaret. The town's culture of aging shifted from passive endurance to active engagement. Doctors began prescribing movement instead of medication. Families noticed the difference too. Grandparents who once sat out now played catch with grandchildren, cooked Sunday dinners, and told stories with clarity and laughter. Margaret became more than just an inspiration. She was proof that aging could be reimagined. She often reminded newcomers, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to start. The most beautiful part wasn't how many could now do all 5 tasks. It was how many tried. Even partial progress brought big results. Fewer falls, sharper minds, and stronger hearts. Aging didn't feel like an ending anymore. It felt like a new chapter, maybe even the best one. And in quiet moments, when Margaret sat on her porch with a cup of tea, watching the sunset paint the sky, she felt something deeper than pride. She felt peace. She had rewritten her story, and in doing so, helped others believe they could do the same. Let me know if you'd like to turn a part of this story into a voiceover snippet